Good morning and welcome to Carnation Crafts. I'm trying to find you on here. I'm just trying to find you. Just bear with me. I found you. Are you all okay? Massive, massive welcome to you all. We are live with a new Crafters Select and it is awesome as always. Hey Pearl Farrier, how you doing, lovely? Yeah, they're so cute. They're so ridiculously sweet and dinky. So we're going to have a look at the boards and just go through it. But it's nestled in nature. It's the deal of the day today. So you're getting it reduced from, I think it's supposed to be $24.99, I think. And you're getting it for $19.99 today. So you're getting 20% off the price, which is amazing. 230528, show price $19.99. 2.95 P&P. That price is going to go up to its original price of $24.99 at midnight tonight. Ooh, there's lots of you here. Hey Diane Toddington, how you doing, lovely? Hey Sharon Curtis. Hey Michelle Johnson. And we've got Gloria. Hello, Linda Wilson. Good morning. Karen Vincent. Good morning. I know they are so cute. They're really sweet. Hey Pam Lillington. Hey Mandy Motley. So we've got you all here. Sunny Lytham. Hi Debbie Anderson, how you doing? So I've got both of you here on YouTube and on Facebook, so you can comment on either and I can see them all. Good morning Jacqueline Taylor, good morning Maggie Jones, nice to see you again too. I am so glad you're all here because this is beyond sweet, really lovely. We're going to have a look through it and see all the different animals, but Kirsty did message me to say that the animals, the big version of the animals that we're looking at today, all have 20% off. So I'll go through those as well in case you want to get their big counterparts. There's lots of you. Hold on. There's loads. Hello there. Oof. Hey Ruth Windybank. Hey Janine Dawson. Thank you for your message last night, Janine. Suzanne, hello. And God, you're talking fast this morning. Hold on. Not me, you. All of us. Sue Phillips, hello. And we've got Teresa Trenfield. Eileen, hello. Gosh, it's moving fast. Mags and Linda Poland. Bought this very early in the morning. You're always best because they do sell out quite quickly, these. Then we've got Vera Bow. Good morning, lovely. Debbie Anderson. Good morning. So, right, let's talk about nestled in nature and how sweet and how gorgeous and how lovely it is. Some of these you've seen before. These are some old friends made very tiny. Now this makes it super awesome to demo with because you've got these tiny little elements that come in and they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. No loss of quality in the artwork, no loss of quality in the cut lines on the dies. Just because they're small, they are still mighty. We have got some gorgeous little people here. Look, his little face. Some of my favourites are on here. He is my absolute favourite. I love that snail. Is a snail from Ponderance Place, Taz? I think it is. I'm pretty sure. And then you've got all your robins, your beautiful blue tits. This chap, which I'm not sure, we'll say it's a pigeon because that's the bird I know. And then you've got all your little hedgehog, your frog from Ponderance Place, your little squirrel, Pip, and various other ones. Dandelion and burdock are these two. Grove Guest, that's Grove. Is that Grove Guest?
I would imagine so.
All of the animals. So I'm just looking at your comments here. I'll come back to you all in a second. What I want to point out, and I think is really important, when Carnation produce anything, what they're really set on is not having any lack of quality. And these are tiny, and to me, they could have quite easily done is basically given us outline dies, but look at the cut lines. Look at how many cut lines we've got in each and every one of those. That means we get to sculpt in the most extraordinary way with tiny animals. I'm going to show you some of Janine's finished samples so you can see how they come in, because actually we can really build with these elements and they're beautiful. So we're going to have a look at some finished samples. I'll just pop those there. See how we start to get that structure coming through, that build, that high rise on those wings, nothing at all lost. And that to me is extraordinary because they could have done, and we wouldn't really have noticed because they're tiny creatures, but they keep us always with the quality. Look at that. How beautiful is that? See how they're all built and you've got that structure and that dimension coming through. Really beautiful. Absolutely stunning. We'll keep going with these. It's finished. And the joy of doing Crafters Select is that we get to use our other card shapes, we get to use other elements from different collections, and we get to bring it all together. Look at the prettiness of that. The little squirrel, and then you've got that beautiful robin sitting there. Really beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm saving that one till last because it's my favourite. Look at this one. Is that, what's that shape from? Is that Spring Forward? That's going to hurt my brain. No, what is it? Oh, it's woven. I was using it the other day. Woven.
I'll find it.
Just pretty, right? Pretty, pretty, pretty.
The website is quite slow. I think loads of people.
Oh, loads of people buying. And then you've got your little rabbit, and you've got your big rabbits, and then we've got an extra one here.
It's called Wonderfully Woven.
Wonderfully Woven. There you go. Look at his face in that little jam pot. Now, hold on, I've got one more to show you and then I'll come back. Look at this. Absolutely stunning. Janine, you are my hero. Now, what I want to, I'm going to get into trouble for this. I don't care. I like getting into trouble for things. I don't, but they can't get me here. Right, what I want to show you is this. I couldn't have asked for a sweeter friend, okay? One of the things that I always talk to you about, or I have been recently because it suddenly struck me how awesome they are Carnation sentiment stamps. Because I've got them in really good sizes, and the more I use them, the more I'm like, I really like these. They're really, really good. I want to show you something because it's super, super exciting. And Carnation are not even remotely prepared for me for doing this. But Little Ferret on the website, you've got the Before the Rainbow stamps, and I love these. So some of them are big stamps. Some of them are Littlies, so you've got a really good example of both going through there, and they're $7.99 each, which is so ridiculously reasonable for sentiment stamps. It's such a good price for sentiment stamps. But if you go ferreting on the Carnation Crafts website, they've got this on offer at the minute. So, and we only, Taz and I just discovered this about 5 minutes before we went on the show when I said I was going to show them. If you go to the number and type in the number 190312, it's like a buy one, get one free. It's $7.99 for both of those sets. It's supposed to be a lot more than that. And that is an awful lot of stamps for a really, really, really good price. So that is $7.99 for both of those. That's extraordinary, right? And there are some lovely, lovely sentiments on there, just really pretty and really good sizes as well. And there's a ton in there. I think Mr. Taz is trying to count them. 25 stamps for $7.99. That's 190312. My advice, grab them because I don't know how long they'll keep them there for. So back to Nestled in Nature, and what we're going to do is do 3 demos for you, hopefully this morning, so you can really see it coming together. But when you start, look, I've got a bag full of animals. Get them all cut out. Loving the wee beasties. They're great, Linda McLeod. We really, really love them. There's so many of you here. It's really lovely to have your company. Hey, 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 Carol Hart. Carol Overton, good morning. Printed, ready for the dies to arrive. That's amazing. Hey, Celia, are you okay? Tuck in behind some plants and flowers. That's the joy of them. It's the little poke, isn't it? The tiny little element that go in. And because they all work with florals, which is something, you know, we have this really beautiful abundance of florals with Carnation, and they do wildlife so well, don't they? They do nature so well, so we can use them in all of those. So we're going to do a bit of a demo to start us off. Now, I'm going to try and desperately remember the names of some of the dies that I've used, but we all know my memory is shocking, which I think is something to do with menopause. I'm just saying, but my memory just doesn't work anymore. Right. Let me get these out. Right, let's play. So we've got card base, and funnily enough, it's just a folded piece this time, so that's already sorted. So just a folded A4, okay? And we're just going to work with some layers, and we're going to bring it together and have a look at what we're doing with all of the bits and bats. So first, my foam tape, creating those tabs out. Just pull out your perfect papers from your different collections and bring them all in. I can't see, Miss Taz. About right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Always slightly on the wonk. Right, let's bring some different shapes and sizes. Look at those two together. Isn't that beautiful? I love perfect papers. What are you laughing at?
Every time. I don't think there's been a single time.
That I haven't had something on it?
Yeah.
Well, what can I say? Is that about right, Miss Taz?
Yeah, not like as best as...
It's as good as it's going to get without me poking my very grey hair over you. Oh, that is super wonky. Miss Taz, you guided me wrong.
Down and then just decided no.
Don't you blame me, Miss Taz. You're supposed to be my guiding light.
I can't have another title on top of everything else.
You failed me as my carer this morning. That's all I'm saying. Failed me. Little sentiment stamp on there. That's what I mean about the sentiment stamps. They're so cute. Well, there's no point me trying to get this straight now because I don't know what's straight and what's wonky anymore. Oh, good Lord. Right, you can all blame Taz at home. I mean, it is what it is at this stage. So, good morning, Sue Martin. When you are not feeling the best, watching you ladies is the best medicine. Miss Taz might not agree with you there, to be honest. Miss Sue, she might say no.
I cry every time I finish the show.
She does. She sits in a corner just going, what happened to my life? I used to enjoy life so much. I'm just going to make sure that's not stuck. Right, wet glue. Applicators. These applicators, by the way, see how this has got glue on the end from last time I used it. I'll get a new one for demo, but just to let you know, when you've got these at home, you can just pull the glue off it and use it again. So I never use them just once because it's plastic and I don't like putting plastic in the environment too much. So if I can just keep reusing them, I just pull the glue off until eventually, after several uses, you'll pull the fuzzy off the end of it. But it doesn't matter if it's got a bit of glue on there because it doesn't stop it doing what we need it to do. Right, little bit of glue on here. I can't remember what these hold on. I think this is from Floral Heights, but I could be wrong. I'm just going to lay that through as a border on that card. Really, really striking, aren't they, those borders? Really pretty. There's something really beautiful about them. And then I've got my winding flourishes here. How pretty are they? Isn't that? Aren't they beautiful? And I'm going to place this in. Now, I don't know whether to use one or two. I've put two in case I decided to flourish over, and I might do. But I like the idea of having that beautiful flow. And if I want to, this one's got a little bit bent. If I want to, I could place another, but I don't know if I'm getting too busy. How pretty is that though? But I think just one is probably enough. So let's sort and just place. But the star then comes in with these. Those beautiful floral pillars. Aren't they stunning? Now they've just been on the USB that I did last week, which is what made me think of them. Pretty as a picture, right? Just stunning. So I don't want that distance. I don't like that triangle that's coming through. So I'm just going to rotate my winding flourish a little bit. It's not pleasing me. So I'll put that so it surrounds that. Yes, Miss Taz.
So, your kind of almost fretwork, I guess.
This.
The first one and your roses.
Yes.
Together are both in the Floral Heights collection.
I don't think that's a rose.
Did I say rose?
Yep. There's three.
Well, the floral that it is.
There's three floral pillows. One's a lifted.
Yeah, the floral pillars, but they're both of those are in the Floral Heights
Is it a camellia?
I,
Somebody at home help me. What flower is it? You're all so good with your florals. Right, let's do, I'm going to do a little bit of shaping. They're slightly decoupaged up, so it might not shape as well as I want it to, but I am just going to shape a little bit. Good morning, Jacqueline Ward. Don't be sorry for being late. It's absolutely fine. So little bits of shaping on this. Not too much. I'm going to pin flare it to get some height because I want those animals to just tuck through. Good morning, Diane. How you doing? So now we're going to put pin flare on. We're going to raise it. I want some shadow. And the reason I want shadow, that's flat. This is going to be predominantly hidden, but I want some element of it. If I lay it flat, what I do is reduce that completely, so it's almost pointless having it. If I raise it, I can still see that delicate work going through, and I'm going to have those shadows sitting behind. Yes, Miss Tiztaz.
it's a camellia. I've heard it from Mr. Bossman Nick.
Is he sitting?
Yeah.
You know that he sat weeping in the office, right?
There's two of us.
Mag says it looks like a rose leaf. Pearl Fairy says it's the climbing camellia die set. Pearl, do you want a job? Because I think I might have just lost mine. I'm just saying. I love you, Nick. I don't think he loves me. Let's put these here. So lots of pin flare. We're raising up. Remember, raise up. Get that height so you can have that shadow. Otherwise, I'm going to lose this piece from Floral House, and I don't want to lose it. I still want that element there. So I'm just going to very delicately lay that down because I don't want to squidge any of that pin flare. I want the shadow. You see how that lifts? And that lifts gives us that beautiful depth. Now, if you're going to do that with pin flare, you are going to have to leave that 24 hours before you do anything with it. So we lay it delicately and then we walk away because basically we need that to sit where it's sitting. If you lay it flat, that was pointless doing the work, right? But because we've got that beautiful dimension that sits there, it's just so pretty. Now, our little creatures coming in. We have got the beautiful, beautiful boidies. How sweet are they? Look at that one in motion. Really, really pretty. I just love them. I love the level of detail that comes in with Carnation. There's something about it. Now I've got the little note tag and I'm just going to sit that in. I'm not stamping it, and the reason I haven't stamped it is because I've got the stamp up here. I don't need to, but I just like it as a little pretty element that sits there. It's very feminine. I can choose where to put it. I can have it at the bottom. I can have it at the top. I like it down here, and that's where I'm going to seat it, but you can have it any which way. Really cute. I think as an element, this is one of my little top pieces. I've got a lot of these all die cut ready to use because I think they're just such a pretty little flourish on your card. So I'll pop that about there and place it down. Look how that all comes together. Now we get the stars of our shows. So because all of those cut lines have still been put on there, I can now still sculpt, and that's really nice. Who's put that? Liz Lacey, love this card. Just popped over to the Carnation to buy the stamps. Being a Scot, I love a bargain. They're a great value and amazing sayings. Really, really lovely sayings on those before the rainbow stamps. They've got all the other sentiment stamps as well, which I'll show you in a minute, but I want to do these birds. But the other ones aren't on sale. And because Taz and I got very, very excited, we thought we'd share the news with you, but I may not have excited Carnation quite as much. Right, let's get in with this little boydie. So I'm going to use the small ball tool, but it's not the smallest. If I use the smallest, I'm going to bend the paper, and I don't want to do that. It's too small for the surface area. This one works correctly for that wing size, so that's why I'm using this one. So straight in on that wing and just push it through. Work with Nick's lines and work with that shading point that you've got so you can see, and we are separating out the wing from the body. So I can do that with that one. Then I can take my tiny ball tool and I can just work under that wing just to give a differential line. And then go back to the bigger one and work on his tummy. just going through, so I'm careful not to crease anything. Little smidge on the head, but not too much. And now my wing is separated from the body, so I can just get that different point in the sculpting, and that will allow him to lift. Just a bit of pin flare there, and he's just going to sit nestled just on a leaf, so he's got a grounding device on his feetsies. See how he raises up? Just laid in. And the shadow that comes behind. A beautiful point. Now we've got the little blue tits. So again, I'm working with this. I can start that line under his wing because there's a cut line there, so I'm not interfering with the weave of the paper, just to separate him out. Another form of sculpting that you can do, especially when you're using something small like this, instead of going in with those bigger ball tools that we were using to sort of shape out his tummy, what you can do, I'll do it on this one to show you. If you want to use the very small ball tool, we're starting to get more, I suppose, complex in paper sculpting than just using a ball tool. So for any of you who love the paper sculpting journey, this is a different technique that we would use. And that's to use the smaller ball tool and to actually just use it just on the edge. So we don't actually bulk him out fully. What we do is cause this really sort of beautiful curvature on the outside of the die. So this would be where we come in here, just on the bottom, but you need to use the small ball tool for this. So instead of going into his tummy, we just take a little bit of shaping around the edges, and you can do it on the whole edge of him, and it gives a different look. So this is a really beautiful technique for using on large surface areas. It looks really pretty. If you're doing leaves, it's a really nice way of doing it, and it just gives a little point of difference. So it's just a change. It'll still give you the dome, but we don't have the softening of the texture of the paper on the middle of it. So it's just a different technique, and they have different purposes, but I just thought I'd show you a little technique. Sharon says those birds are gorgeous. It's like the hedge in her garden that's full of birds this morning. Honestly, mine were making a right cacophony this morning, the birds. Very, very busy this morning. So he's going to sit there. So I've got the build up, and obviously I've got the white space. Now the white space is going to be used for the little bird in flight. He's going to come into the picture. So we're just bringing it forward that way. So for this one, I'll just sculpt him as normal. So using this ball tool, which is about the right size for him, the first thing I'm going to do is go into the wing. Working from the outside and then working on the inside just to bring that forward. A little bit of shaping on that head. Pull in the wing and just working around his tum and his little tail feathers. Okay, so we get that sculpt, we get that build, that beautiful change. And then I don't want his wings to be like that because he looks like he's going backwards. So I'll pull that forward. So I've still got the curvature from where I've sculpted on it, but I'm pulling it right forward, and that will make him look like his wings are moving. It'll give a sense of movement to it. And this is on tiny dies. These dies are incredible. The quality is just impeccable, as we would always expect. So he's going to be flying in, and I'll do him at this side, just about there. How beautiful is that? Really pretty. The shading line that comes from the pin flare of him moving in, and then the shading line we've got from the dimension of those beautiful floral pillars, which are just breathtaking. Anyway, when you're working with carnation dies, it's very hard to make a card that doesn't look incredible, because the stuff that they use is incredible, right? The artwork that we're getting from Nick and the creative team just allows us as artists to use his art to create something really spectacular, and we get that every time. Using things that are tiny and dinky like this don't reduce the quality of anything that we're working with. It's always going to have that beautiful point in it, isn't it? Oh, is my tag fallen? Ah, they crackers. But the elements that we get, the key change, look at that. The beautiful sculptured pieces where you've got that beautiful height that sits there. Dimension, prettiness, elegance, all of the stuff that we get from Carnation. Really, really stunning. I love working with their stuff. There's something about it. There's something that allows us some freedom to play and the ability to use our imaginations. And when we get to use Crafters Select and we go, I can use any collection, and we can do that anyway, but because we buy collections, we tend to stick with them in a little way. The fact that we can take an element from, I don't know, Before the Rainbow, and an element from Crafty Little Things, and then an element, you know, and we can play, right? And that's the joy of having the Crafters Selects. I love them. I love them very much. Now, we're going to use another demo here, but while I'm opening this, I'll just say that the Crafters Select is only available till midnight tonight on the price that it is. So at the minute it's $19.99, that's 20% off. That's going to go right back up to $24.99 at midnight, so now's the time to grab it. 230528, Nestled in Nature die set, $2.95 P&P. That's on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. If you want to find your artwork for this, you would simply go to downloads, and then you would go to free downloads. On the right hand side, you'll be able to type in the name Nestled in Nature, and it'll bring you all of the PDFs there. So you've got your full set that you can print, and you can get them in those double-sided vignettes as well. So all beautiful. Right, just finish opening my packet of crisps at the side here. I'm going to be working with the snail. I love the snails so much. Right, card base. So I need to make sure I get this the right way around. Carol says I've ordered mine. Mag says I've ordered mine. They're just beautiful. You're not going to be disappointed. And a lot of you who've ordered that today will get them tomorrow, which means you can get crafting straight away. So use your line where you've got your score line 1/2 inch. Place it back and then put it towards your body. Get this piece, shuffle, place it down, push. You've got your straight edges, okay? And that is your card shape. So this beauty, the strata card shape, one of my absolute faves. Love, love, love. What I'm going to do is get these layered up first, and then I will attach. So you get all of these elements for your strata card shape that all come together, and it just builds the prettiest picture as it goes together and it pulls forward. So I'm going to use that, taking foam tape on this bit to raise like Billy-O. So 3mm foam tape pretty much on every layer. Now I am going to lean over a little bit here, guys. I do apologise, but I do want to get this one straight. It's important. Okay, and then this one as well. So glad CC have done some tiny creatures, as work on smaller cards due to perspective, plus makes little families with the larger dies. It does indeed. They're so sweet, Alison. Good morning, Anne Munson. How you doing, lovely? Sorry about my head if it comes into shot. I just want to get this straight. Right, so that's that. Look at that build on that. Isn't that pretty? But the other two, the semicircles that go with this shape that sit this way, I'm not putting on foam tape. Very specifically, these will remain flat. And that is because I want to use things to tuck in. So this one first. Hey, do you know, I give up. Let's just face it, we're never going to have glue and cat-free card demos. Is that coming off? There we go. I love this card shape so much. It's so lovely to work with. We can do so many things with this card shape, which I really enjoy about it. So what I'm going to do is lay this in. So I'll have that build on that side and I'll have it lowered on this side, and it'll start to look a little bit like an envelope. Okay, or a handbag maybe, if you see what I mean. So you've got that raise and then that lowering. So you've got that beautiful dimension that sits with it, which I really, really like. So we can play and we can build up. And that's what we're going to do. Now I want to tuck some things in here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is lay this one down. So I'm going to glue it to its base panel. Joyce says, just found you and love the last card you made. What is the name of that lovely floral? I assume you mean this one. That is your floral pillars. And that is from the Floral Height collection. So if you go to the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, and just type in the search box floral pillar, as in Pillar, and it'll come up for you there, Joyce. Right, what I'm going to do is lay that in so that I know I'm straight. And then lay this one just down. Am I on? Is it on, Miss Taz? Hold on, guys. I'm going to have to, sorry. Just get this in. Just there. Right, okay. Now, I want to start working slightly tucked. I want to tuck some stuff underneath this, namely some greenery. And in order for that to happen, so I've just cut bits of florals up here to provide me with some greenery. Now, in order for me to be able to tuck it, because I don't want it sort of just sticking over it, it'll look very, very odd, right? So I'm just going to place it there. Now, in order to do that, I need to be able to glue it first, because I need to know that it's in the right place. Otherwise, I can't tuck it underneath because my foam tape will get in the way. So I'm just putting a little bit of adhesive. I'm going to put that back so I can see where I'm working. And then I'm just going to lay this in. Just about there is fine for what I need. And then I can put that there. Andy Love, when is Dave back? Davey B, we love Davey B so much. I'm going to lay that onto there. Now I start working with my florals. So I've got these beautiful pieces. I've got my gorgeous little animals and some stunning flowers, okay? And we can really start to build. You can already see that we're going to have this amazing push of colour coming through, that beautiful pop of colour that's coming through from those florals. We're toning it down with the whites as well, because what I don't want is to kind of offend the eye with too much brightness. So I'm going to pull it back because we've got this gorgeous white on white that we're working with here. So I can do that by bringing in certain florals first and raising the colour. So what I'm going to do is take in the florals. I'm going to give them a little bit of shape, not too much because they're going to be slightly tucked. So the carnations first. Look at me knowing the name of a flower, Miss Taz. And I'm going to just use a ball tool. Now these, I don't know if you won't be able to see it properly on screen, but these have got so many cut lines in. If you want to learn how to sculpt florals, these carnations are such a good place to start, because you can see every single cut detail that works in here. So it means that once I do these, I can just start to roll in. Can you see how it's giving? The card is, or well, it is cardstock really, but it's just starting to allow me. And now watch how it domes. These carnation are just the most amazing way of learning to sculpt, because it pops as it's going. Okay, so same again this side, round on those edges. And it's giving, each time it's giving, you can see the paper letting itself breathe, because those cut lines give us that movement. And you can hear it popping. Really pretty. Okay, now you could do it either way. You can have it sort of cupped in or cupped out. Either way will work. But now we start to lay some colour down. Really gorgeous. That beautiful pop of colour. Isn't it stunning? Now I'm layering. So I'm using pin flare, partly because I want the height, but partly because I'm layering stuff up. So I just need to keep those tones cooler. And the way I'm going to do that is to bring in these whites on the side, just to cool it down a little bit, take some of the heat away from those flowers. So working with my ball tool here. And working round. Just bringing in that detailed element. Look how pretty that is. They're beautiful, those florals. Look at those. Taking in some pin flare and lifting this. I want them to tuck underneath the carnations, just on the edge. Just there. Just there. And then I'm going to tuck in a little bit of foliage. This I will keep flat. I want them as a background feature, not as a foreground feature, so I'm keeping them flat. Just cupping round that strata card shape, that beautiful, beautiful semicircle. There we go, just pretty as a picture. And then we're going to take a look at that. So see how that's cut? That sits on that. I just snipped away because carnation are beautiful for being able to snip. Now that's too small. That ball tool is too small. I need to work with something that's appropriate for the surface area. So every single one of these florals will get a little bit of attention. I will say if I was working at sort of at home, if you like, making this, I would take the smallest one and I would work on each petal individually. We don't have time to do that in demos, but that's what I would do if I was at home. Just give it that attention, give it that time, and just work on every single petal. The more detailing you put in, the better it will look at the end. It's just the nature of the beast. We don't have time in demo to do each individual one, so I will take the larger ball tool and just work the whole floral. But if you do have the patience to sit and do it on every single petal, it will pay you back in dividends. So every single one gets its attention. Just sit that. I've just got to squish it a little bit, make sure that adhesion takes that colour, that beautiful tonal colour. And then we're going to put this down. I could not love the strata card shape more than I do. I think it's such a powerful card shape. I'm just sorry guys, I'm going to have to just lay this straight. I do want this one straight. That is just gorgeous. That pocket of florals, really pretty. Let's bring these little animals in. I've lost my snail. Where's my snail? Derek. Oh, there's Derek. Right. Dandelion and burdock. I don't know which one's which, but we're going in with him. Now, ball tool. Too small. Make sure you're using a ball tool that's appropriate for the size. So just start with his head and do his little face. Then take it round his bottom into his tummy line and then work to the middle. Once we've broken those fibres, we can work to the middle of the area. Little hodge pig. The little hodge pig has got lots of cut lines in him. He's a joy to sculpt. So bringing his head through, I'm going to follow Nick's triangle of the face. So we're just going to work downwards towards his little snout. Just following that through, and then round his tummy. And then Derek. Derek is beautiful to sculpt. If I work down his body, then I take the small ball tool. Now the small ball tool obviously has two small ends, one being very, very tiny, one being slightly bigger. So if I use the bigger one just to work around this shell, and then I'm going to reduce down and use the smaller one on the smaller elements of his shell, just so I'm separating out with those cut lines everywhere that we're shading, and that's going to give him kind of a beautiful texture almost to his shell, because I can just poke those through so we get that beautiful, you know, wave of shape on his shell. So let's get the little, look at his little tail. He's so handsome. Look. And we're just going to pop him through. So he's going to sit, and I'm just going to tuck him just down here. He's so sweet. Then the little hodge pig. Just poking his head, saying hello. And then Derek. I actually think the large snail's called Alan. And he's just doing his own thing. Basically at this point, Derek is photo bombing. He's stealing the moment by photo bombing his little self along the card. Just a little bit of tongue-in-cheek like Carnation like to do. Really pretty. Just those bits of colour that come through, that white on white, that stunning white on white, and the impact of the strata card shape, and then layering that up, beveling it round, and allowing those flowers to just speak with those little animals. Just super, super sweet. And it's the joy, isn't it? It's the joy of working with what we've got, and the fact that there are so many dies that we own that we can really go to town with. That's where Carnation they just make an impact, right? Isn't that stunning? Really pretty. I love these tiny animals from Nestled in Nature. They're just beyond sweet, because it allows us to play in a different way. Like we were saying before, the fact that you can have the big ones, which have got the 20% off if you want to match any of the animals, or you've got those tiny ones to just weave in with your little florals, and they're so pretty and so sweet. But it is only a 24-hour deal at the minute, so at midnight tonight you are going to be paying $24.99. If you get it today, you'll get it for $19.99. That's 20% discount, which is quite a whacking discount, to be fair. So $19.99 and $2.95 UK P&P, and that's on the number 230528. And your downloads are already there, so you can already do that. Right, I will just very quickly show you some of these other sentiment stamps that I have snaffled, because I love them. And I know it's not part of today's show, and I do apologise. Actually, I'm not going to apologise. I apologise to Carnation because I don't think they were ready for me to do this, but I'm not apologising because I love them. So these ones I think are all $12.99. So just type in sentiment stamps on the website and it will come through. But I just want to give a shout out to them, because what I love about these stamps is the fact that not only do you get the sentiments, but they're giving us extras. You've got the beautiful bees on these ones. You've got your gorgeous florals, really pretty little florals to stamp out. And there's such a nice element to it. But this one, especially written with love, we've got texture stamps. And texture stamps are really important for backgrounds. I really love if you use a very pale ink on these and stamp out some backgrounds with them, and then start using some of Carnation's extra pieces. So things like when you have that background and you bring in something like a flourish, and we start to sort of build level just with ink, that makes a massive difference as well, and I really like them, so that's absolutely worth it. And then something like these where we get the spray of stars and florals and hearts, really pretty and really gorgeous flourishes in this one too, and really nice sentiments. Never stop dreaming, enjoy the little things, wishing you a sweet one, friendship is the sweetest of fruits, for the sweetest friend. That would be you, Miss Taz.
That would be me.
It would not. So there you go. You've got all those gorgeous elements, and that's your stamps. So I just wanted to give them a shout out because I keep mentioning them, and I just wanted you to see them, because I think when you see how it's all very well as doing a little stamp, isn't it, on a demo, and you see in a stamp, that's great, but when you start to see how beautiful they are, so I thought I'd get them out and show you them because I think they're incredible. Right, I will do one more demo and then I will let you all go. Stop waffling in your lug holes. Let's bring these out. So, ooh, I love playing. Card base already done and sorted, so just a piece of card base in, and then we've got a mat here. Look, this one's grubby as well. What is it about me? It's glue, it's adhesive. I do promise you, when I send people cards, I don't let it get grubby. Red liner. Keep it flat on this one because we're going to start adding height to the centre. I do apologise. Look at that. I don't know how it goes from normal to that just by bagging it up. We're covering it up anyway, so I'm not worried. But that, look at that backing paper. Carnation's backing papers are stunning. And we're just going to put that here. That beautiful textural backing paper. And you can see on here, just as an example, can you see the little sort of skeleton leaves here? And that comes from Carnation's Lightwork leaves. So it all comes together. I love how they do it. Now I'm taking in a central point. That's a very bold move because that is a very, very bold colour. So I am just cautiously going to cool that down because it is very bold on top of that backing paper. So just placing through. But contrast can be everything. Sometimes contrast can be your best friend. You know, working with something that's very light, where we do those white on white tones, and then going into something where we've got contrast, that really, it gives us a bit of extra, doesn't it? It gives us a bit of a movement. But for this one, I've got to cool it down. There's no way I could work on something that colour myself, personally. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, just that my brain wouldn't let me do it. So I'm going to cool it right down, and I'm just giving myself a border of it. Push and pull. So those creamy tones coming through on those perfect papers, very pretty, very, very pretty. Let's add some texture in with this. Oh, look at that. So it's like a card within a card, really, because we're layering this in. So that's like a card, and then this is like a card. So you're setting your theatre stage. That's what we're doing when we're making cards, essentially. We're setting a stage. Now I've got some of those Lightworks here in blue. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And they can just sit edged out on that corner. And I'm going to bring in some adhesive. Now you need your applicators for these because you've got to get into those tiny, tiny spots. Just tiny amounts. I don't know which way. I think I'll have it that way. Which way have it that way? Oh, the choices. We'll go this way. Hang on, that's still got... There you go. So bringing that blue back again. So I haven't got rid of it altogether. I'm bringing it back. Now I'm about to use one of my all-time favourite florals that they've done. I love this so much, and it's probably one of the most useful florals that they've made, in my opinion, as well. And it is the Gardenia Corner Die. And I think this is such a corker. There's something extraordinarily pretty about it. Now I've slightly decoupaged that. Look at that. That tonal work on that is incredible. Corner dies, always your best friend, because it allows a visual point where we break up what we've done behind it. Now, because I've put the light work on and this is busy, because I've got this here as well, I need this to be bold. That corner has to be bold. I've got to take some of that away, because if I don't, it's too much. There's too much going on. So that's why I'm using the very, very bold floral on top of it. And I need to raise this. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have enough pin flare in here. I might have to refill. We are raising this up. So that is a fair whack of pin flare that I've got on that. Okay, lift it. And now that fades into the background and it stops being busy. But if I squash that down flat and I don't have any lift on it, it will give a flat impact and it will look too busy. I've got to get some shadow in there. I have to separate one from the other, and that's why pin flare is so important. I've got to make that difference and allow the shadow so that I can get some visual relief from everything that I've put down, and then we tone it out so it works just very, very prettily. I'm going to bring in a pale blue feather, and I can steal some pin flare from there just to place that in. Just a little one, just there. And then I'm bringing in that beauty. Look at that. I'll shape it a little bit, not too much. Just following Nick's shading lines and making sure that I am sort of honouring the half and half of the feather. So shaping half, then the other half, and that'll allow it to just curve round. And then I'm just going to take that point and start to curve that around so I get that really pretty shaping. Okay, and that's just going to give me a bit of something else. Bringing in the pin flare as best I can. Bah, yuck. That's not what we want. There we go. Tuck that in and let that sit slightly raised just as that flourish coming out. Now, my little critters, we've got dandelion and burdock, and we've got that beautiful robin. Really pretty. Now, have these facing the other way and shape them out just a smidge. Do his chest here and his tummy. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see which way around I've got them. Yeah, that's right. Round his bottom and his tummy, and then the beautiful robin. I love this robin. Tummy first. Now what I'm going to do with this robin is do his chest, and then I'm going to do this wing, the little wing. Then I'm going to turn him over and I'm going to do the big wing. Okay, so they're going in different directions, and that will give the appearance of flight. It will give the appearance of the wings moving in a certain direction. And then I'm just going to pop, we'll do these two first. Now, when I do dandelion and burdock, they're much bigger than the robin. And in real life, they'd all be about the same size, right? Roughly. So the way that we make sense of that, because I do want to use all three of these, just want to tuck them in. The way I get to make sense of that in perspective. Actually, I'll swap these two round. I'll just take him back, tuck him in, because I like him sitting on that feather. Keep that gardenia raised. I'm just going to tuck him up here, just hidden. He's just poking through. Mrs. Taz is saying 30%'s already gone and there's only 12 hours left. It'll sell out, I think. I think it's possibly going to sell out. It's not surprising, is it? Now, I've got these two tucked. Now, what I was saying a minute ago about perspective, because these are so much bigger than the robin, and that wouldn't make sense, and we've got to make sense of it. The reason that I've left so much white space here is to allow that robin to be off in the distance, if you like, and that's what's going to happen, because I'm sure all of you know this, but whenever we have foreground and background, that's what gives us perspective. So for those of you who don't know anything about perspective, if you look out into fields as you're driving along, the trees that are nearer to you will appear much bigger than the trees in the distance. Now that might seem blatantly obvious, but often we don't think about it perspective wise. Anything that's further back is smaller, anything that is drawn forward is bigger. So that's how we make sense of it. And that's where the blurred backgrounds that we get from Carnation are so important, because those blurred backgrounds give the effect of everything being off in the distance. So what we do is we work in layers. So those blurred backgrounds give us the sense of something very far away, and then we can start to bring other things closer to us, and that's what makes it, it gives it that umph, right? So that's what we're doing with the robin. We're going to put the robin on the white space away from everything else, and that white space is going to allow it to look like the robin's in the distance. That will make sense of it. Otherwise, it's going to look slightly odd, I think, if I don't give it that breathing room. So I'm going to put the robin over here. Okay, so do you see how that then makes sense of it? If I was to put the robin here, it's not going to make sense. The robin's too small compared to the other creatures. Putting the robin up here allows perspective. It's off in the distance. The robin is further away than those little mice. These are the things that are right in front of us, and that's why we make sense of it, and that's why we use things like grounding devices, because we're constantly trying to make sense. So I hope that helps everybody, and I hope it gives you just a little flavour of what you can do with everything that you've got today, and these gorgeous little nestled in nature beauty. Look at the prettiness. And we've made 3 very different cards today, so no matter what your crafting style is, there's something to suit everybody. Is it okay if I just lay them out, Miss Taz? Is that okay? So you can see the different styles that we've worked with. That strata's rather long. So you've got the 3. I don't know if we'll be able to get them all in or not, but 3 very different card styles to suit everybody's crafting styles. Look at that. And all very, very Carnation, right? Look at Derek. I really love Derek. Really, really beautiful set. Nestled in nature is just something you're going to be able to use again and again. Cut loads of them. Have a little bag of animals that you sit with your little bags of florals, because you're always going to be able to tuck them in, right? And it's a little visual element. We all love things like Where's Wally, because it's just fun. There's a bit of fun. If you're going to tuck those little creatures hidden away, it gives you a different visual on the cards. People are going to find them, and it's just a really nice thing to have. Nestled in Nature is on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. You can find it on the number 230528. $19.99 right now, but at midnight tonight that is going to go back to $24.99. It's selling incredibly fast. I don't know if it'll last the whole day. Please be patient with the website. Get your vignettes. If you're having trouble with the website, if it's slowed down, that's because obviously it's incredibly busy. If that's the case, grab the die and get the vignettes later on when it's cooled down on the website. Think of it like a summer's day. It's very, very hot at the minute on that website, but it will cool down later on. So you'll be able to go in and get your vignettes, no problem. You'll receive your dies possibly tomorrow, so you can have all of the fun. It's been really lovely to have your company. A massive thank you for joining us, and we will see you on Friday. Oh, Miss Taz has written it all down. She does look after me. United Vignettes, 10 o'clock Friday. There, it's stunning, those vignettes. Then we've got Beauty Beyond, which is the brand new launch. That'll be over on Carnation. No, it's Create and Craft, won't it? And that is 2 and 8 o'clock on Monday, and 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Oh, I'll have to get up at 4 o'clock that day. Then we've got the Sports Women Extra Pack on Friday next week. So that's everything that's coming up for you in the near future. Again, really lovely to have your company. Thank you for joining us. Take care till then. Bye.